don't have the capacity here. We don't have a staging company here, and I don't think they'd be overly successful
Yeah.
if they did.
Yeah. Well, and honestly, in some of your properties, the view is the staging. Sorry, but if you're looking out at the ocean, what do you need a couch for? Let's
Yeah,
be
pretty
honest.
much. Yeah. Or a TV maybe is a better response to that, right?
Right, right, exactly. Welcome to the Timbits and Tacos Real Estate Podcast with me, Wendy Pauls, and my good friend and fellow agent, Rick Parks. So I think we're past the Buenos Dias greeting. We're into the Buenos Tardes greeting.
For you, yeah, you're 3 hours ahead of me.
Oh, okay. Well, I can still say Buenos Dias to you.
Buenos dias.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
and buenos dias or buen dia can be applied throughout the day.
Oh, perfect. Because sometimes I just kind of hesitate and go, oh, hang on, wait a minute. Is it actually like good day?
It is. It's good day or good. Buenos dias. Buenos dias is good morning.
Uh-huh.
Bien dias is good day.
Oh, okay. Okay.
All right. And then good
but
afternoon.
People won't give me a dirty look if it's like
No.
1 p.m. and I said Buenos Dias.
They'll just be happy you're trying.
Perfect. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Well, that's good. So since I am north and you are south and we are on opposite sides of the continent, actually.
Yeah.
I thought it would be interesting for us to talk about real estate as far as like a number of things. So like our average selling price for a property in the area. What would be a typical days on market? I want to know about your showing process, your offer process. Do you guys use lockboxes? Like there's a lot of things that we get used to in our area and culture in so many things, but I thought let's look at it, some of the similarities and differences when it comes to real estate, selling and buying real estate.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
Do you want to start?
Yes, I'll start on this one.
All right.
Because I know the differences.
Yes, you have lived and worked in both places.
I have. So for me, number one difference is we don't use lockboxes.
So how do you do it? So if let's say you're going to show me a property.
On site. You can't look at a property unless there's an agent on site.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So when someone comes down and says to me, hey, Rick, can we go look at some homes? We're not really interested, but we just want to look around. My insides kind of curl a little bit because I know that I'm about to ask 2 or 3 of my friends to take an hour out of their time to go open up a house for me that I know that my client's probably not going to want to purchase.
Okay.
So then you end up doing, well, let's go look at the, some of the model homes that are open, and let's, you end up avoiding those properties that are, might be interesting to them, but I don't want to waste some other realtor's time. So I'll go down to the models, which are open, and there's always somebody there ready.
Sure. Yeah.
So that's a big,
I think that would make, well, you and maybe the buyers a little bit more serious. Like you're going to, rule out some properties maybe ahead of time because you're not just going to go and check out properties at quite as casually as one might here?
Well, I think we're all guilty of, and this is not a bad thing, but it's Sunday afternoon or Saturday afternoon, you're sitting at home with your husband or your spouse and you go, hey, listen, let's go look at some model homes for fun and look at the decorating. Sure. We don't do that here. That doesn't exist here.
Okay. What about open houses? Do you guys have open houses?
We do, but they're generally for agents. Okay. Now, so you're as a consumer, you're more than welcome to come.
Oh,
but
okay.
You might, if you walk by and see a sign on the side of the road that says open house, by all means, feel free to go in. But when I do an open house, I'm fully aware that the majority of the people that are going to walk through that door are our fellow agents and my colleagues who are saying, okay, I want to see what this property is. Which is that's pretty normal for everywhere, I think. Okay. Is it not run the same way in Ontario for you guys?
I would think most of our open houses are actually for buyers. Buyers are nosy neighbors.
Okay. Yeah, well, that's true too. Yeah, we've all done that.
If you were going to do an agent or a broker open house, yeah, you would kind of deal with that kind of privately, like through email system or something like that, or online. But no, I don't think the public would not be kind of invited, or may not be aware that it's even happening.
Well, you came with me to an open house.
Uh-huh.
Now that is a very typical open house for us.
Okay.
And I mean, and it wasn't just, an agent standing there with an open house. There was a saxophone player, and there was wine, and there
It was
food, and
awesome. Felt like selling sunset.
yeah, and that's more what we do here than, a guy sitting at a table waiting for people to walk through in the door.
Sure.
We don't do a
Yes.
lot of that here. We
Yeah.
probably should do more, but again, you have to realize that most of the nice homes in our area are behind 24 gated security.
Okay, fair. Yeah.
So for you to be able to do an open house, excuse me, you're only gonna get the people that live in that community. And now you're just doing with nosy neighbors.
Right. Yeah. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. For us, as far as lock boxes, I think they're totally like a lifesaver, because we can book appointments online for showings. So I actually, last weekend, I had an out of province buyer coming in. So, they're going to be in the province for a few days, and we're trying to get in to see 15 to 20 houses. All right.
Right.
So trying to book in 3 to 5 kind of a day. So, I don't know what I would do without online booking systems and lock boxes, because I'll go online, I will, kind of map out where all of these places are. In this case, we were looking in not just single cities or towns, but kind of neighboring.
So you've got 20 minutes of drive time.
Right. So you got to factor that in. So you have to think, okay, how long to get there? What time will we get there? We want, probably 30 minutes in the home, and then we need drive time to the next one, and so on. So I feel like either I'm some type of a travel agent trying to coordinate scheduling, or
we tour guide all the time here. Yeah.
Something like that. But it's absolutely a lifesaver. Now, what's challenging, if you're not only showing right in your specific area, we use different lockbox systems in Southern Ontario, depending where you are. And this can be super annoying for out of town agents. So ours is a Bluetooth system, and we've done that for added security. It allows us to track who is in and out of the home, right? So that's awesome. But if somebody's coming, say, from GTA, they don't have our exact system. They sometimes have some issues with our system. It's a bit of a frustration. London has a different system. So I know I've gone to London before unaware that their system was different from ours. And sat in a driveway, called the brokerage. Can you help me? I can't get in this house. And we've just driven an hour, So I mean, I think there's a lot of pros for the accessibility, but obviously there's some cons, because we have sort of some different systems at play. But
no, I get
overall,
that.
I like it. Yeah.
Let's talk about time on market.
Yeah.
What's
I think
your
we have a big difference here.
Oh, huge difference. Yeah.
We did. So, you're aware, your market went up, beginning of last year as well. And then it followed a little bit, maybe not quite the highs and quite the lows as we had, but so we were as short as 6 days on market as an average during our peak, like February of last year. I think we're sitting around 11 as average right now. Now that, again, that is an average, because there are some properties, obviously, rural properties, or, bigger ticket price properties that may be a couple months or several weeks, and then you're getting your properties still that are flying off the market. So our entry level prices in the area, we're back into multiple offer situations. There's just, our inventory is too low. The competition is high. So when that happens, we're back to the model of setting an offer date on a lot of those. So, hey, we're going to look at offers next Tuesday. So then you could again have a property going in under a week.
Can't even fathom it. Well, I can, but it is something completely different than what we do now. Here, 3 years ago, pre-COVID, if I can use that terminology, it would not be unusual to see a condo on the market for 6 or 9 months.
And that wouldn't mean that it's stale or
It's not stale at all.
undesirable
It's
or,
just
okay,
the demand wasn't there. COVID really changed our demand. And so now our time on market is much less. For us to see a property that's been on the market for 60 or 90 days, we're going, okay, why is it stale? We're asking those type of questions. Where before, I mean, especially in multi-million-dollar tickets, to see them on the market for 380 days would not be an odd thing to have seen in the past.
sure.
Right now, the market's driving us. We're much more similar to your market in the sense that we're seeing properties move much quicker. On some properties, they pop up and they're going to be gone in 3 days. We have those. But for the most part, I would say, and I don't have this exact number in front of me because it's just not as applicable to us as it is to you. But I would say that we're probably talking 30 days on market would be an average.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Which I think for a normal market, that does seem pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does take away that fear when a home comes up and someone says you're interested. As an agent, I'm going, jump, move, go, hurry.
Yeah.
There's a little bit you can kind of go back and you call the other agent and say, what's the interest like? And they're like, you know what, I've had a couple guys through, but we've got nobody making an offer yet. So you don't feel like you're in that panic where you have these offer days, as you call them, where you'll have 20 offers sitting there in front of you, and so the poor seller has to decide between these 20 offers. It's got to be a nightmare to some extent.
Oh, it's not poor seller in those cases. Trust me.
Okay, I understand. Okay.
The seller is sitting back going, I've got people bidding.
Yeah, I'm going to Disneyland. Yeah,
it's the poor buyer going, oh my gosh, I just lost out on house number 10, that kind of thing.
Yeah, horrible.
So it's pretty crazy. So if you do have a property, if you have a listing and it is sitting a bit longer than you might expect, what might you do to increase interest in that property?
Well, the obvious is always lower the price.
Okay.
And generally, if a property is sitting for an extended period of time, it is because the seller has an inflated view of the value of their home.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. That's pretty traditional, especially when you have a market like we're in right now that is going up and up and up. You've got the sellers that say, well, I'm going to take a shot and I'm going to list this at $200,000 more than what my neighbor sold their place for.
Sure.
And it takes some time for the market to catch it. So that happens. As a marketer, we do have an MLS here, which is kind of nice. So we do the open houses. We do the exchange on our Facebook page. You push out a property. And give you a great example. I got a little lot that I'm trying to sell right now. It's just a little owned by an old fisherman, Mexican fisherman. It's great. I love this family. Selling this little lot. It started. I felt it was starting to get stale. So I just kicked out an email through our Facebook message page, on email, but a message saying, hey, I've got this property. It's a great little development property. And I've had 2 phone calls on it in the last 2 days. So sometimes you just got to push it out there in front of people again to say, don't forget about this.
Sure. Sure. And do you have a system, you guys use like an MLS type system? Or is it the MLS system?
We do it. Well, yeah, ours is called Flex, but it's an MLS system. Yeah.
And so interested buyers can go online and kind of look around the same way that they would look for a property.
Yeah. If they went to your website or they go to, the nice thing about you guys, you have that realtor.com, which everyone goes to, and it's or realtor.ca, and it's huge.
Yep.
For us, you can't access our MLS except through our individual websites.
Okay.
Okay. So when you come into my website and you go to search for property, you have access to all of the MLS properties, but you don't know who's listing them. As far as I've listed 1,200 properties.
Actually, that sounds great. I love that. So they have to come to your website.
You got to go to the realtor to get to to access these listings. At least you got to go to the realtor's websites.
Gotcha. And I think we have your website linked in our channel description, I think. So
my brokerage is called Costero, but I also own Cabo for Canadians, and that's probably the most applicable website there. It's a great website I've got in place that is there to help Canadians not just buy property, but go through the whole relocation process and understanding all the different
Yes.
elements that are
You
involved.
answer commonly asked questions and
Tons
all
of
that
them,
sort
yeah.
of thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, that's really helpful. What about your offer process? What's that like? So you have a buyer, you've taken them through, they like the property. First of all, like, are places going at ask, over, under? What's kind of happening?
Well, there was a very short period of time where we were, where you had to go above ask.
Okay.
But we're not talking massively above ask. We're talking a couple $1,000 or whatever it might be.
Okay.
On a multi-million-dollar home, you might go $100,000 over. Right now, as the way the market is, although it's still fairly hot, it has slowed down slightly, where I would say that if a client came to me and said, here's a $500,000 condo that we want to purchase, I would recommend, okay, let's go in at 485, 480,
Okay.
that type of thing. Expect to get, some negotiation going back and forth, and you might take 5% off the overall price of the property in the end, who knows? But
All right.
that's kind of where you're coming from, unless you're into a property, again, that is a great deal.
Mm.
And then it's just a madhouse, and it's offers in and the whole thing, away we go. Yeah.
So you advise your client maybe going around 485. So you draw up the paperwork.
Yes.
And are you emailing it to the other agent? Like, what are you doing anything in person anymore? Like, do you
No,
do e-signing?
I've done complete deals and never seen the agent. It's absolutely
Okay.
wonderful. I love it. So what we don't have is a standardized form here in Los Cabos.
Okay, no
Okay.
standardized
We
forms?
don't have standardized forms. So we have our own offer to purchase agreement in place.
Okay.
Okay, and that offer to purchase agreement, it stipulates, here, this is the amount of deposit down, here are the conditions, very typical of what you would have in your offer to purchase. Here's the time frame involved, here's the closing date that we're going to establish, who's the agents involved, all that sort of stuff. So that's all similar, but every one of them is different. So the challenge we have is, I get an offer to purchase from mom and pa shop over here,
Yeah.
and it's the most oddly written thing I've ever read in my life, and you've got to go through and go, oh yeah, and you end up actually responding to it on a counteroffer on your own offer to purchase.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So there's some challenges there. The basics of the offer to purchase, though, are pretty basic, similar to what you have, in the sense that the majority, you're going to put a deposit down, you're going to have contingencies. Once your contingencies clears, your deposit goes non-refundable, and then you wait until the end of the deal and fund the rest into escrow.
Okay. So that part is similar, but oh my gosh, I can't imagine. I think it's bad enough to read like our schedules, which is where they've added kind of clauses and conditions. I think that's bad enough. I can't imagine having to kind of look over the whole thing because there's no kind of standardized, wording per se. That feels like a lot of work.
We're begging our MLS to produce it, and apparently it's coming.
Yeah.
So we're hoping it's coming, but right now, yeah, it is. And it is a challenge because, you work with some of the bigger groups in town, or those people that are well organized. They've got great offer to purchases. It makes complete sense. It's easy to read through. And then, one of these guys show up and your face just, oh, what were they thinking? And you've got to go through this process of basically, and sometimes you end up protecting their client just by presenting a decent offer to purchase that protects both sides, both parties involved properly.
Sure. Have you ever got any like comments back or pushback from like lawyers once it reaches? Do you have lawyers involved at the, like we do?
Yeah, we have a closing attorneys involved in every closing.
Okay.
But generally, once you've got the contract in place, that contract is the binding contract. Now, some people will bring in lawyers. One of the struggles we have is when you get a lawyer from Canada who wants to have their input into Mexican law. And they come in and they make these statements, and you're like, that's just not how it functions here. That's just not how it works here. You can't expect that. And so you get buyers who come in and say, well, my lawyer wants this change. And we're like, no. And it sounds like something you usually would not, you don't want to kick back on those things. You don't want to put up barriers in front of a deal.
Yep.
But at the same time, you've got to protect your client, you've got to protect, everything involved. And sometimes these lawyers, I think lawyers just create stuff, make stuff up so they can justify their $400 an hour sometimes. I'm pretty sure of that.
Hey now. I love the lawyers that we work with, so I have no complaints about them. I think they're wonderful and reasonable.
Fair enough. Okay.
Oh,
what else?
I'm curious about a couple other things. Staging, so totally unrelated, and commissions. So which one do you want?
Okay, well, in your case, in Ontario or in Waterloo Region, the majority of your homes are sold without furniture, correct?
Like without,
when you sell a house,
without furniture included. Is that what you mean?
Correct. Yeah.
Correct. So one of the changes that's happened from years ago, so you're aware, my husband, Kevin, was in real estate years ago, and his family is, it used to be common for people to take their appliances with them. And I'm going to say that's really rare now. I don't think I've done a deal in the last few years where somebody has taken appliances. So that is something that is now staying. People aren't wanting to move them, I guess.
But the furniture stays.
The furniture is going with them, but the appliances are often, typically actually, sold with all of them, like washer, dryer. Once in a blue moon, somebody may have a gas stove that they particularly love, and maybe they exclude that, but that's rare. So appliances usually stay, furniture usually goes, but as far as staging, so one of the things my team does for most of our listings, even if a house is furnished, by the people living there, if they are willing, we will usually go in and do some, what I call accessory staging. So we'll take away tired looking stuff. And we have a couple units full of storage units with decorative pillows and, throws and artwork, vases, stuff for the kitchen. So by the time we have the people kind of pare down and, put away any clutter, in addition, we'll put some like fresh accessories, lamps, things like that to give it a staged feel, really.
So the difference here is the majority of homes, and I'm going to throw out a percentage off the top of my head, but probably 70 to 80% of our homes are sold with furniture.
Wow.
Okay. Well, it makes sense in the sense that where are you going to get furniture here? Number one, it's not easy. Number two, where are you going to take this furniture to, especially if you're moving back out of the country? So what do you do with this furniture? Well, you're going to have to sell it or give it away. So we include it in the price. Now, what we do though, is we take it off of the sale price. So we have a furniture allotment that comes off the overall sale price.
Oh.
So that cuts down on the capital gains involved.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah.
So for us, staging, yes, we go through the same decluttering process with people. And we talk about, and I've often gone into a home and said, you know what, we should probably get rid of these things and put these things away. But the actual staging and putting other items in, we rarely do. What we're doing a lot now is digital staging.
Okay.
Where we will take, especially if we're dealing with a new build, or we're talking about a high-end renovation on a property. Then we'll go in and actually place digital in photos. We'll place furniture.
Yes.
But we won't do that physically. We don't have the capacity here. We don't have a staging company here, and I don't think they'd be overly successful if they did.
Yeah. Well, and honestly, in some of your properties, the view is the staging. Sorry, but if you're looking out at the ocean, what do you need a couch for?
Pretty much. Yeah. Or a TV maybe is a better response to that, right?
Right. Exactly. Okay, that's fascinating. And I love that idea that you pointed out about, removing the furniture from the price because of the capital gains. That's something we've never considered here. Yeah, fascinating.
Yeah. And as far as commissions go, our commissions are really simple. Like they're confusing I remember when I was a real estate agent in Vancouver, and you had 3.5% on the first 100,000, and you had so much on everything after that, and this tiered thing, it doesn't exist here. So our commissions are pretty basic. It's going to be anything under $1 million is 8%, anything over $1 million is 6%.
Wow, and that's across the board.
How we work. That's the general accepted numbers.
Okay.
There's always agents that will undercut that for
Sure.
whatever reason and offer that because they're trying to get the listing. We really encourage agents not to do that because it makes it difficult for all of us to do our job.
Yes.
To be honest with you. So, but in general, you will see those type of numbers, 8%, and then it's split, of course, 50-50 buyer seller.
Do you even get any for sale by owner there?
You do, but again, I wouldn't buy a for sale by owner here in Mexico. Okay, because you're dealing with title issues and you're dealing with what's going on in the house and all those other things. And generally, how do you say this nicely? But people that tend to sell by, if they're selling by owner, or there's a reason why they're selling by owner.
Okay, that's
and they're probably not reasons that are
diplomatic way to say it.
Is that a fair way to put it? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And as far as commissions here, we do sort of have standardized rates as well. KW, I don't know when it happened, several years ago, did come down a little compared to some of the other areas, like GTA sitting more like 5, Guelph is 5. I actually don't know what land, but so 5 would be pretty common for now, and that's the full amount. That's of course going to be divided between the listing side and the buying side. KW area is 4 to 5. And then, of course, we do have also the agents or brokerages that are trying to come in for, you know, for less.
The discount brokerages, yeah.
The discount brokerages. I like to say you get what you pay for. We put a lot of extra or a lot of things into the commissions that we charge. And I really do believe, after being in the business, that the value is there, and that I'm going to, me or my team or, you know, or a good agent is going to get you more money. Yes. So you're not going to end up paying more. Yes, you're paying more commission if you're looking at that number, but I think a good agent, they're going to earn that in what they're going to bring in an offer. So
even the value of that is often in the agent's network. Okay, so you list with me and I list your home at a going rate of commission. And the top 10 agents that are geolocated to that area, walking in, they're my friends. So when we started into a negotiation, I'm dealing with someone who I know, I trust, we have a relationship with. You walk in with a discount broker, or you walk into a home with a discount broker and an agent who has no idea what they're doing in this area, and it's always a mess. Always a mess. So yeah, I agree with you completely. I think you pay for what you get in this business. Absolutely.
And I know we're going to come across as biased, but I do actually genuinely believe that.
Yeah, no, and I'm 100% with you on that.
Yeah. So lots of differences, lots of similarities. I mean, the list could go on. Maybe we'll pick it up in a future conversation, but yeah, it's fascinating.
There is one thing I will point out that is significant, and people say to us, your commissions are very high. What is the average how many sides does an average real estate agent do in Waterloo Region in a year?
I can't tell you what the average would be.
But could it be like 15 or 20?
Yeah.
Where our average agents are probably doing 6 to 8.
Gotcha.
So we have less movement. We've got less people going in and out of here. So the commissions are a little higher because we're selling less.
Right. Yeah.
Like even our top agents. Yeah, we don't have the same amount of turnaround as you. And remember, our sales cycle here, someone calls you up and says, hey, I want to buy a house in Waterloo. I'm moving there in 3 months. You are basically done that transaction probably within a 2-week period. Normally. For me, I get someone calls me and says, Rick, we are thinking about moving to Cabo, and we spend the next 2 years in a conversation about that. Sure. And I probably show them property 3 times over that period of 2 years. So there's a little bit more to why it justifies our costs and why they're a little bit higher, because we just don't turn the same amount of property you guys do.
Yeah. We call those people tire kickers.
There
No,
are.
and if they're
potatoes.
watching
I
or
know.
listening, no, I understand there are cases.
But
I'm like, oh no.
it's because oh, we just cut out. There we are, we're back. But we're mostly second home. We're
Yeah,
vacation home, we're investment properties. We're not.
yeah.
We're
And
not
what I was
the
going to say is,
primary-
honestly, it depends. If people are, it's true, they're moving to the area. There are people who can, find and buy or list and sell it very, very quickly. And then there are people that are, we want to move in the near future, but, we're going to watch for the right property. I get it, and then maybe you are watching for 2-3 years because you're not in a hurry. You don't have to move, but,
Right.
but they're open to the idea if the right property comes along. So yeah, then that's a longer cycle, but we need a bit of both.
Absolutely. Very cool. Wonderful.
Great conversation. Thank you
Always.
for some of those insights today. We want to remind people, as we always do, if they want to ask any of us questions based on this or anything real estate related, that we have our appointment, just smacked the mic, appointment link in the description. And also we always ask people to two things.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. We would appreciate it. Adios, my friend.
Goodbye, my friend. We'll see you soon.
See you.